WTF. SPWH. WTF. WTF.
TCRT.
TCRT.
ICCT.
Do you know what happens in the first 20 minutes of the stock market opening? That's when I make most of my trades. It's not magic, it's a pattern I've been using for years without spending all day trading. And now I want to share this strategy with busy people who need an edge on the market. You're probably wondering, why? Simple. I wish something like this existed when I started trading. That's why I created a free trading course. It's designed for busy beginners who want to learn how to trade in less than 20 minutes a day. Whether you're new to trading or just short on time, this strategy could be a game changer. You want in? Click below to get
SPWH.
TTEC. NCNO.
WTF. 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 WTF.
HOTH. DJT, TBH.
Step into options education with confidence. At the Options Industry Council, we want you to
Geo. DJT.
WIMI, ENGS, QSG, GRFS, CSAI, MBST, GRI, VERU, VLN, SYTA.
SQQQ. 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 SOXS. SOXS. SQQQ. 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 SOXS. SOXS. ANGO. SQQQ. SOXS. SOXS. SQQQ. 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 UVXY. UNG. SQQQ.
Tax Act doesn't expect you to have all the answers. That's why we've got experts on hand who do. Well, the answers to tax stuff. Not like if aliens are real or how to get washboard abs. Tax Act. Let's get them over with.
CDT.
SQQQ. SOXS. SQQQ. 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 UVXY. SQQQ.
TNON. SIDU. CNTM.
CNTM. CNTM.
TNYA.
Hey, let's go get lunch. What's wrong?
Man, it's tax season and I don't know what to do.
It doesn't. Some of them don't. Some of them don't. And again, it is slightly different because it isn't as large a producer as, like, say, a Barrick, who they're just like to like. Barrick goes up, gold goes up, Barrick goes up in line. B2 Gold is a smaller producer, and they do have some geopolitical risks. But again, the geopolitical risks used to be because you're in Mali and you're in Namibia, and that's where B2 Gold is. In addition to Canada, those were your risks. And you're in a country with some potential political instability. But now that instability is the U.S., so they're not as tied to that. So you might see them move on the fact that they are not in that jurisdiction.
When it comes to these types of companies, though, what's the advantage maybe between someone going out and spending, on a Barrick or something that's higher priced versus the lower end of the spectrum here as far as upside goes?
Yeah, it just comes down to your risk tolerance, right? Like if you are looking at it, you know that Barrick is going to be tied to the price of gold in a very small delta. Price of gold goes up 20%, delta might go up 5, 10, 15, 20%. Price of gold goes down, won't go down 20%. Price of gold goes down 5%, Barrick might go down a couple of points. These higher delta names have that larger opportunity where you could go, it could go up 10, 15, 20% irrespective of the price of gold, simply because of something that happened to one of their neighbors, like we've talked about before. If it's, it's closeology. If you're close to someone who's gotten really good results, that affects you because the ground doesn't know that there's a border in your property line, right? And the ground goes where the ground goes. So if your neighbor does well, you do well, things of that nature. So you get that higher delta name. And in addition, when they announce drill results, like all of a sudden, and I won't bore the audience with details around grams per ton, so I've learned our lesson on that. But when you get those massive results that mining heads really get their heads around, you see these, again, larger deltas where a stock like B2 Gold has gone between, and this is a small delta name, but between 315 and 460 this year, right? So it's a 50% move if you caught it at the bottom. But conversely, it's to the downside. You've also got that.
One that has ties to other Trump-related topics, FM here, and I'm speaking of the Panama situation.
Yeah, and so that was one that I thought was interesting. Again, it's not a gold name, but it is a copper-based name. But that one is interesting simply because of all the geopoliticalness that goes into everything that's happening in the world. There's ports that are now being bought by Blackstone or by the Chinese, and there's all the different ports that are being bought in the Panama Canal. There is Panama itself, what they're doing with First Quantum, which was the former government, stopped everything. They're in arbitration currently, and you've seen the stock rebound nicely. I mean, it went all the way down to, again, as a larger cap stock, went down to the $14 level. It's come back up to the $23 level, and it's trading around $20 now. Massive properties. Producing copper, and now it's just a geopolitical thing. Which way will Panama rule. So
Yeah.
it's more of a geopolitical name versus a commodity tied name.
The one thing that's blatantly obvious here on all of these charts, regardless of how you look at them, they're nowhere near as weak as most of the other market at this point, and holding up, a little bit better, which is kind of the point and why we're having this conversation. Let's go to more tariff-related names, or potentially tariff-related names. On the consumer side first, as you were mentioning, there's the food aspect of it, and that's very wide-ranging, not necessarily just on the produce side.
Yeah. No, food items are across the board, and I was listening to somebody yesterday, and being Canadian as an example, there is a lot of pro-Canadian mentality. I was passing by a restaurant yesterday, sign said 25% off Canadian wines. Someone kind of almost frowned at the fact that somebody ordered a bottle of California Cab and was like, you can't, it's America, you can't do that. Bourbon, all those things, goes all the way to that end of it, as well as into produce. Like, again, Canada, we're highly reliant on produce from other countries, particularly from the U.S.
Yeah.
So how does that work? And the U.S. is highly reliant on produce and goods from all over the other parts of the world, because there's only so much that they can do as well. And if you look at what they get from Canada, there's a lot of grains, there's a lot of pulses, there's things of that nature that come in, plus beef, and then there's the whole dairy issue that I won't even get into.
There's the aspect as well, I was reading this yesterday, of South America. We get a lot of produce from South America as well. A lot of that to date has gone through the U.S. to get to Canada.
Yep.
So now you're putting all this pressure on those types of smaller producers to find different ways around to get their products to market, which is crazy. I want to show this one real quick. This is Loblaws. This is a grocery chain here in Canada, but what is this, all-time highs?
They are just shy $1 shy of all time. So they might have actually hit it yesterday. And again, this is a name that's trading at $203. And if you caught the bottom correctly this year, on a $200 name, you made 45%. Their low on the year was $145, getting up to over the 200s. And they've done a really good job in Canada. They really don't care about the U.S. And in terms of who they sell to, maybe I'm sure they do care about the U.S. But in terms of who they sell to,
probably
not. But yeah, if you walk through a Loblaws, which is a grocery store here in Canada, you'll see "Made in Canada, Made in Canada, Made in Canada" signs, and they have their own Canadian label called President's Choice, and so you're seeing these things permeate through the economy where Canadians are backing up Canadian-made goods and entities.
I was trying to find something to compare it to, but it's hard almost. It's not necessarily a Whole Foods type of store, but it's getting to a point where it's in the higher end price range at least.
Yeah, it's getting like maybe not Whole Foods, but like a Trader Joe's for sure. It's probably getting up there.
That's
Trader Joe's does have better food, so if you guys want to send us any stuff, we're very open to it. I'm not sure if actually, no, never mind, tariffs.
Those peanut butter pretzel cubes.
It'll cost us too much for you guys to send it to us, so don't worry about it, Trader Joe's. Tariffs. We'll pick up the tariff if you send it.
Raheem will pick up the tariff. Raheem will pick up the tariff if we send it. Rails specifically.
Yeah,
probably something
that's going to be a massive thing now, just because of the way everything's going. Infrastructure. Canada's done a really, in my opinion, poor job of building out our infrastructure. We've rested on our laurels and said, okay, well, the pipeline that connects Alberta, as an example, going to oil and gas for a second, that connects Alberta to the East Coast, if it goes through the U.S., it's fine, but why? Why didn't you build it going through Canada? Why would you have that resiliency on somebody else that built a pipeline just below us? Doesn't make any sense to me. And so now with goods that are going to have to cross borders, again, if it's Canadian wine, if it's Canadian grains, it's things of that nature, Canadian seafood, that are going to have to pass, that rail infrastructure is going to have to ramp up significantly, and it's going to have to go this way across Canada. So I think there's going to be a massive opportunity for CN Rail in terms of everything that's going to have to go cross-border this way versus people that were always looking south for their sales are now going to have to look laterally.
I didn't bring up that chart, but it's
$140. It's near its, $135 was its year low, got up to 180. I think this is a name that's going to be massively predicated on what happens with tariffs.
This is CNQ. Just real quick, we'll wrap up with this one. Canadian Natural, another one that you're just talking about the simple fact that half of our energy products have to go cross-border twice just to get from one side of the country to the other.
Yeah. So this is a name, again, it's based in Western Canada. They've got assets in Western Canada. But in addition, slightly geographical diversification with assets in the UK as well as Western Africa. It's trading right down the middle of its 52-week high-low. But it's going to be a name that will be affected by whatever happens today. So depending on which way things happen at 4:07 or whatever time we're on the ledger.
Whatever draw slot we get.
whatever time our slot begins. That'll be a name to watch out for. And it's been one of the more active trading names because of everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And what we've always said, if you love yourself, you buy yourself. So they've had a normal course issuer bid. They've got a dividend. So those things kind of just provide that comfort that if as an investor you also get that dividend on the back end.
I mean, I think just the simple fact that we, show up here this morning and there's so much to talk about. We could probably break this into 2 or 3 different segments, and maybe we should, because
I'll just sit here all day.
as we
as a Canada commentator.
As we were saying, we don't know what's going to happen. So once we do know, I mean, you had crypto on here a little bit as well, and I think it's worth mentioning what the effect of crypto is going to be. But I mean, we can get into that another time. Let's all hold our breath collectively for 407, maybe.
Yeah, depending.
The over/under.
Yeah,
I think he'll show up.
We should set it out.
I think he'll show up around 4:30.
We have a gambling company that's involved now, right? So we can put an over/under.
Place a bet.
Yeah.
We can actually. That's a good idea.
Let's do that.
We can actually create a line.
Yeah.
On
what time will Canada get announced?
That's actually a good idea.
Okay.
Guys,
411 and a half is where we'll go.
Shout out to Profit Act.
I think we'll be that up. We'll be up.
I take under. I just think it's gonna be immediately at 4 o'clock.
But who knows? Like, it could be 4 o'clock, and then all of a sudden you're talking for a little bit, and then you don't actually get like anything till 4:20, or it could be right at 4:01.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thought. I had to put some thought into it. But one thing that Raheem mentioned, well, 2. I had a conversation with a good friend of mine who runs a trucking company. He says absolute chaos. They do a lot of business back and forth. I think that's what you're seeing reflected in the rail charts. And when that settles down, they'll probably rebound. But for now, they're in a bunch of pain. And as to Barrick Gold and some of the producers, like, you get these lagging moves. Like, gold is breaking out. These are only now trying to catch up. So I think that was a great look for Barrick there. And it hasn't really broken out that 52-week high just yet.
Deliveries must
Tesla's
be out. Yeah, Tesla right now. Making the move down, Brendan. Tesla delivery numbers are out. I don't see them yet, but they are. Oh, there it is. Tesla 75. Oh, no, that's not the right story. All right, well, there it is, man. Tesla, I don't have the numbers, but they are going to the downside right now. Tesla, 257 and change. We had just put out the sticky note, seeing that we'd wait to see where. Yeah, I didn't
337,000 units was delivered, and production was 362,000. So delivered 337, and production was 362.
Yeah,
the
so
numbers are from Tesla.
Yeah, so the deliveries 336 versus 380.
Yeah.
So that's the big number.
That's the
Yeah, so 336 versus 380. So a decline of more than 10% of expected there. So quarter over quarter.
Production missed by 10% as well.
Yeah, exactly. So production missing and deliveries both missing, sending Tesla much lower here, now down 4.5. We were just down 2 and a bit. There goes Tesla, moved down. So yeah, all right. So those are the numbers that we have. Tesla reports Q1 deliveries 336 versus 280, 495 quarter over quarter. So way down quarter over quarter. Last year 495 and now 336. So there goes Tesla. Just to look at some levels where we may get into here. I honestly think like this could be a break of there, 243, 244. It's not good. That wick might give us an idea, right? 250, 253. Where are we now? All the way back up there. Okay, so that's good. So it's nice to see a little bit of a recovery there. At least now there's some kind of a bottom that we can play off of there. 253 and change. You know, you can now trade this kind of like earnings. Like it's an important number. So when there's a gap, then you play the fade right there back to VWAP. So, you know, could be a good play there for Tesla. Starting to get down, man. 260 right now for Tesla. Do we get to that 220 bottom again? It looks like it's absorbing this pretty good. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe not as bad as we all thought. Did anybody push the bottom there, or are we waiting? So right now the 200 period's at 265. That's going to look like a good shorting opportunity for me if we can get into 265 right there for Tesla. So not bad. It's not. I don't think it's as bad as maybe the market thought.
Well, last time they missed
down
deliveries, it was
2%.
remember that disaster morning?
Right.
It was
That's
much
not-
more extreme the last time they had a deliveries miss. So I'd say this is not as bad. But look, it had support yesterday at 261, like where we are right now, like 60 to 63. So as long as you're not breaking out that range, I think the short stays a little bit constructive here. But you got to let it settle down a bit. We haven't even had a second candle on the 15-minute, and we'll have a couple before we get to the open. So Tesla, not as crazy to the downside as last time on deliveries, but still under pressure. And then remember, with tariffs coming, it's not a good start to the day. The NASDAQ was already weak. NASDAQ and ES were both weak before this all happened. Yikes. Brendan?
Just reading through a couple of other points on that, on the Model Y. We'll get to that in a second. But I mean, the stock's been crushed already. So let's just talk about it a little more. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you jump down to the description of this video. Top link in the description will get you to the sign up page. And then all you need is your email address. And you can get the watch list for free. Every single day comes right to your inbox. I mean, this thing is down so much from the beginning of the year. How much of these numbers are already priced in. So there's the daily chart, 256 right now. We're back to the bottom end of the range, but yeah, nothing good about what we just learned. Do you have those? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. I found this visual online here as well. This is just posted here on X. And if you can see here, this is Q1 2025.
Yeah.
There's definitely a drop. From what I'm seeing, apparently deliveries down about 32% quarter over quarter and 13% to the downside year over year. But again, these numbers not great. Just to repeat these, they delivered 336,700 vehicles for Q1 versus estimates of 380,000. And then also here, the production was 362.6 thousand versus 412.2 thousand. So again, average analyst estimate, as I mentioned earlier, was about 408,000. We are well below that average analyst estimate, that is for sure. This might be a little bit weaker than what we were looking for, even worst case scenario as a market for Tesla here.
It's definitely the bottom end of the range. I mean, I saw a couple people even mentioning maybe 300,000 was going to be the number when it comes out, but
it's not great.
Yeah, definitely not good here, guys. But I think the bigger point, again, we're down so much from the highs. How much of this is going to already have been priced in?
That's Q2.
The thing is, though, yeah, even if you say it's priced in, we just bounced from 220 a couple times here on the daily. So it's not like Tesla didn't have a relief rally. We had a solid bounce. You bounced twice off, like you said, that 220 level. You got to the 200 period. You've already rejected it. So there's overhead resistance we know at the 80. I actually thought if it had come out good, it would have been a fade going into 80 somewhere in there regardless, just based on what happened yesterday. But at this point, you got to look, it's just a little bit different. Like, this is breaking down heavily. Now you're starting to really accelerate to the downside. But I think the short is into 60 to 63, and then just try to pick it up on trend here. VWAP's going to sit right at 60, and if that holds throughout the open, it would have to break back above that 63 for me to be convinced that this is going to be some kind of a relief rally long. And then you probably get to do all of this over again tomorrow, because after the tariffs get released, you'll have even more volatility coming into Tesla. Long term, I think this might take a little bit longer for things to settle on Tesla than everybody realizes. I know I'm not buying the 220 again if it gets down there. I'm probably waiting at least another quarter.
Yeah, I mean, 220 is like another 10%, like more, right?
You can be there tomorrow.
I don't know where this is going to go.
Wait.
I just put in like we just held that 255, but I just put in like a short if we break it one more time just to see. We did get that wick down to 254, 255. So if we break it, then I'm going to try the short. But I do think that, yeah, as we, motor our way up, I mean, there's going to be better short levels for sure. I just think I'd rather join the pain train to the downside. And then if it doesn't happen, we do have levels to get out. Like, I'm talking about like half a unit or something like that on some kind of a break lower right there. But it's holding pretty good. I wonder if this is a bullish. I almost had a hard time saying that, because maybe it's not as bad as many had feared, right? Everyone was saying, wait for the quarter, wait till you see what's going to happen to Tesla. I mean, down 4% when we sort of started, even pre-number, we were at 260s, right? So you're only down $2, $3 from that level. The NASDAQ's trying to hold as well. maybe that's not as bad as we thought, and we look forward now, and I just can't see the consumer. Goldman Sachs yesterday had the recession priced at 35% for the US this coming year. So if that's the case, are we rushing to buy new vehicles? And if we are we buying a Tesla anyways at this point for some people? So I just think there's been some damage done to the brand, and yeah, I don't, if money becomes more expensive and, prices start going higher in our everyday life, we just had Raheem on right there. As these tariffs hit, if things become 20% cheaper or more expensive, that's a hit to expendable income, which would be something that would go towards potentially a new car or anything here. I mean, I think it's still worrisome for Apple and for some of these big consumer names, right? So we'll watch out for Tesla. There's reasons why Amazon's been going down to the downside, and Tesla's facing that as well. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening. But yeah, breakthrough 254, 255 right there on the low, I think is worth it. But here's the gap right to VWAP again. So yeah, this is probably a decent short underneath 260 here. So yeah, kind of I feel like no man's land right now. Maybe it's not right. I'm going to cancel that short. What time is it? 9:10. Yeah, okay, let's just cancel it for now. But anyways, that's going to be a play, I think, right off open then, that 255 break.
All right, let's go on to Newsmax here. Meanwhile, Newsmax continuing to just mind its own business here, trying to get back to, $200 and see if it can actually break back above that this morning. We're down big time versus where we ended the day. I mean, we ended the day way up here yesterday. So nothing really new to talk about as far as Newsmax is concerned. Just a ton of interest online. I mean, an ultra-right or ultra-conservative news platform, maybe just the sign of the times here.
Yeah, apparently it's almost as valuable, if not more valuable, than Fox as of yesterday, which is interesting too, because Fox got a little bit of a pop on Monday night, or the end of NMAX's first day of trading. It's worth noting here too, apparently their viewership is not as good as Fox's. NMAX though, right now about $190 after closing with roughly $28 billion in market cap yesterday. So it does not sound like we're going to open with that much market cap, but let's see if we're able to reclaim 200.
I mean, yeah, listen, it's not heading down at this point. I mean, that's something in the pre-market here, guys.
What was that? Oh, Newsmax.
I mean, yeah, okay, so it's not heading down. It's actually slightly grinding higher, which is a weird thing to say when it's actually bounced 10% from recent support. I'm usually of the thinking that the day that it goes down or gaps down big is an important one, but a lot of times, I said this when we started the day, sometimes you'll see a relief rally early and then the fade. It's when it does that, like if it tries to break 200, closes out the open range underneath, and then can't hold VWAP, I think that's where you start to think you're on the other end of it. I do feel like if I'm trading one of the two, I'll be real, much more likely to trade WTF than Newsmax. Vastly cheaper low case for us to go short. It's also the sympathy play, like it wasn't going first, it's one was going second. It's weaker on the chart, like everything about it is a little bit weaker than Newsmax. I'd use Newsmax almost like the futures. If Newsmax fails the high, and look at WTF instead for some kind of a fade. Maybe off of VWAP, but it's kind of like the tail of the dog here. Let's let Newsmax determine what happens in WTF. For me, I'm not going to touch Newsmax in particular.
Yeah, just a tough. I'm still looking at Tesla. I think I'm going to take that 255 break short. Yeah. So yesterday, I'm just going to go over. We had CoreWeave, and it was a big trade. It was my number one stock 2 days ago. It was my number one stock yesterday, and it was just breaking this $50 level, and we didn't even have it until 350 or so. We first had it on this first break. It went down $1, then we had it again. So lost actually the first time, then hit it the next time. So it's back-to-back days where CoreWeave was my number one trade, P&L-wise. Not number one traded name volume-wise, but definitely says the move happens. What about a 54 break right now? I mean, everybody was like, wah, CoreWeave didn't have a great IPO, but then 3 days later, we're right at the high end of the expected range. right? And so we are looking at $55 as a high end expectation. So we just IPO'd, and now all of a sudden it's Wednesday, and we're right here right now. So I would say get ready for this one, man. 54, 54.50. I mean, I like that break. I think if we can get there, we even go higher. So yeah, for me on CoreWeave, I should have added this to the sticky note. I like this trade, 54 CoreWeave. So we'll have to have a look there. I think it gets there. You know, we do have the imbalances coming out. There's going to be nothing right now, as it's all New York related names. Obviously, we're looking at some of the big Mag 7 names, and CoreWeave being NASDAQ is also not going to be on here. But pretty mixed so far. Nike with a bit of a sell. I mean, we saw off Lulu, off Nike, they haven't been able to get going. I just said my piece about where I thought retail was going, not in a great spot there. XOM, oil, energy has been ripping.
BlackBerry, by the way.
Yeah, they had earnings.
Reported this morning, they're down 21%.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe some volume there, 1.7 million.
Yeah, they're bleeding.
Could be something there for sure. Yeah, BlackBerry. Yuck. Yeah, there it goes, man. They had the tariff hit them like real time.
Yeah.
There's the minus. So I think BlackBerry's just taking the tariff thing a little, like literally. They're just taking their stock down 20%.
Exactly.
You know, just to say,
Let's
like,
get it out of the way.
they're just like, forget it. We know it's coming. The stock's just gonna drop 20%.
Very efficient.
Very, very, very good, BlackBerry. Well done there. Well spotted.
Or they just don't make money.
All right.
Or that.
Yeah, I don't know what that earnings report was, so let's not think too much about that. Just a quick look here to see people looking at Tesla still. Yeah, so still at the same levels, 257. So we'll wait to see what happens here with TSLA. Those imbalances could spark one way or the other here, and those are in 10 minutes.
We were just talking about Blackberries and how they just vanished. And like you said, it was like almost you woke up one day and everyone had an iPhone, and that was the end of BlackBerry. Let's go on to Meta, down 1.5% here this morning. If you missed it in the pre-market, UFC partnership coming through. They made it official. I mean, Zuck's been hanging out with Dana White for a better part of a year. They're going to be this says official fan technology partner. I also read official VR glasses or smart glasses partner for the UFC. I'm not sure how they're going to integrate that, but kind of cool for Meta.
Interesting look here. I want to talk a little bit more about these Hypernova glasses. Sure. So this is their old glasses, the $299 Meta Ray-Ban glasses. According to the Bloomberg report, these new Hypernova glasses are going to cost more than $1,000. They could sell for as high as $1,300 to $1,400. Apparently, the screen's only going to be visible on the right lens, near the bottom of the lens, best viewed when looking downward. So really interesting look. Again, this is just an early report here from Bloomberg, but here are the old glasses. We'll have to wait and see what the new ones necessarily look like. Also in Meta AI world, we had a report, or I guess an announcement here from Joelle Pineau, who is the company's leader of AI. Apparently she's stepping down after 8 years.
The prototype that they showed, I guess going back to the end of last year, I mean, I hope it's a little bit better than those at this point, but we'll see, because those were not there yet. But he seems to be all in on this technology anyway.
Oh, we actually had CoreWeave on the board there. Okay, yeah. So for Meta, look, I can't believe we're talking about a story about UFC deal for these glasses. Like, that's not a very strong story. There, it's nice to see that these glasses are coming through at $1,200, something like that. Seems to be too expensive, but we'll wait. I mean, people pay up for high quality items, and obviously with Ray-Bans and everything like that, and the tech that's going to be in there, probably worth it. But I was showing this earlier, and it's down 21%, right, from its top, even to right now, let alone where we had just come from. So there it is right there. That's 18%. That bottom's 21. So depending on what we do right now, down 18% from the top is Meta. So that's bear market, right? I mean, if depending, I guess my numbers aren't exact. So this has come back into the 200 period moving average. I still think you got to let these things fall down. I mean, it's one of the names that I like the best out of the Mag 7. I talked about Meta and Amazon. I really hating Google right now. I don't know if Gemini's going to make up for what they're going to lose in search. Really interested to hear what this next quarter brings for all of these names. That was a gift right there for sure. 650. If you can ever get something like that again, that'd be great. And that was only last week. So we'll wait to see if Meta does have that oh my gosh moment and battles all the way back. Would all like to see that happen. But for me, still not that much volume. I don't hold that much to that story. If anything, like that's not a catalyst, and you can see today down the same as the NASDAQ right now. Obviously, these high growth names going to get hit, And yeah, money just coming out. It's been such a great run for Meta. Like even now, you know, you're just back to where we were at the election, right? Like, so it's not the end of the world. It's all this unrealized gains that everybody's lost. So when you sort of sit back and you put on a weekly chart or anything like that, you're going to find that some of these names aren't really that bad. But yeah, 20% down from the very peak is a tough look when you're thinking about it and you're looking at your account daily, weekly. It's tough. And Meta right now, remember we were like, hey man, it's had 25 straight up days or whatever it was. You know, like well celebrated, and now, you know, disrespected that whole move, and now we are underneath. So I think we are learning something now, especially some of the new investors, and myself included. Like when you get these kind of moves up, you know, even if you do fall back, there's always worth it to take something out. And I think even right there, you know, it could have took something out. But at the end of the day, you know, I think you just want to invest wisely. And I'm not sure Meta has gone down far enough yet, so we'll wait.
Yeah, I think you're going to lose the 200 period potentially today, and if that actually holds underneath it, I don't see a reason why, like 500 seems pretty reasonable of a spot. Like the absolute goal zone, I said this like a week ago, if it gets under 500 anywhere near the 424 half, that's a load 'em up. I don't know that it'll get that bad for Meta, but if it does, that's at that price, forget about buying once a quarter if you're DCAing this year. I'm just buying twice at that level if it's there next quarter. For today, I don't necessarily like a day trade on Meta. If anything, out of the Mag 7 names, it was more the 225 on Apple that I was kind of cued in on. But the problem with all of those is you're really far away. And 225, it was a buy and balance on Apple, and it just went up there and then reversed at 225. So you know there's some resistance up there if it can get there. Maybe we get a rally and it gets to that price. The only thing I wanted to add, I didn't get a chance to mention on CoreWeave, which is now breaking out. I like that 50 level that it's already held, but now that it's breaking out, gonna have to look at VWAP for continuation. I thought maybe you were gonna get the old dip and rally, which, I mean, that's kind of what's been usually happening on most stocks, dip and rally. So I was looking for that today. I guess we'll have to look at VWAP instead. And yeah, I mean, everything's sliding. Will make sense that the semis would too.
CRWV.
Yeah, Steven, as far as groups are concerned, here's Intel, just about to break the low from yesterday right now, down 1.6%. NVIDIA looks maybe even worse at this point as far as what is happening this morning. We're already through yesterday's low. I mean, there's nothing significant as far as news, but obviously going to be on watch coming up tonight.
And one thing, too, that I want to note beyond the tariff concerns, too, is AMD, Broadcom, and Marvell are all attending this OFC conference. It's the optical fiber-related conference. So this conference has been going on since Sunday, but today, of course, we're going to have 3 semiconductor heavy hitters attending. Marvell especially does have a tendency to move a little bit on these conferences, so I think that would be something to be aware of. Broadcom will be there tomorrow as well.
CoreWeave, yeah, I mean, I just heard a downtick there, but do we even talk about it in the same sense at this point? 50% for Intel in the last 12 months downside, guys. Where's the trade here today?
Go at the pops. I mean,
down 1.6.
Yeah, like I don't know.
They're all going
typically been the name of the game for, at least for this stock. It lost the 50 period yesterday. There's nothing really outside of every even dollar in the 20 level standing between it and the fresh lows that it's been bouncing off of, which is actually 19, not 20. So I think continuation today. You can pop, the thing is you can pop right into prior close and have the afternoon short levels, which was 22 to 22.10 or so. So that's the first look. And if it breaks that, then I'm looking at the close before, which is like 22, I think it was like 22.60. So call it the 22 half. I'm shorting pops in that. And then AMD as well. That's the other chip name I'm looking at. Very defined range the last 2 days. Outside of the early move that you got on Monday off of the open, it's been holding 101 and resisting 103. So if bearish, short 103. So those are the 2 chip names that I have on the mind. AMD shorting if it pops into 103. Also, if the open range holds under 101, I think you gap fill down. But it's Intel that we've kind of, I feel like I missed Intel yesterday until later on in the session. So if there's any play into that 22, I want to make sure I'm able to grab it.
Yeah, for sure. Intel's been a tough trade there from new CEO to all the way up to $27, $28.
He inherited
back into $20 again. Damn you. All right, so I wrote down there on the sticky note today, obviously we were going to be celebrating Liberation Day, but there it is right here. IBIT, I just want to talk about that quickly. 47.75 short. Still flat here in the pre-market IBIT, which is a little bit strange because I've been thinking that it's following the NASDAQ a little bit. So if it does play that catch-up game, I'd like to see it break. And it was sort of, again, not that wick really means anything. It was a breaking back down below 45. I just wanted to give it a little bit of room to make sure that we're right. Or 48, sorry. I just didn't want to whack that, so I just kind of went over here. This level right there, 47.80. So this was what we were looking at as a break. So hopefully we can break in there and then make that move down. It was a good hold. It started that rally. We did hold again. So, you know, if we get up to the top 48.50, I mean, I'm long crypto. It's just into today. I'm surprised IBIT's holding out so good. So this could also be the long that we're looking for sure. So again, happy anniversary today to my wife. All right, so Tesla right here on the way down. It's getting to that level. I am going to go short 255. So if we do break, I don't have a cross down too much, only to 75. So we'll see. Hopefully the liquidity is okay. You know, like I said, about a half a unit or so, just to see if we get going, because we are into right now less than 1 minute. It's 9:24. 30 right now. So if we call up the imbalances, we'll see these in just a second. And it'll probably spike something on Tesla, so bear with me. We can also have a quick check. Well, we were just looking at NVIDIA because we're talking about some of the semis. This could also go today. That bottom's like 104, so I would think that could come into play as the NASDAQ's going to start pretty pukey here today. Let's flip it back to Tesla just to see. There it is. So, no, not even yet. 3, 2, we just see how it like moved a little bit. 1, so there we go. So they're now out, so it doesn't look like it's doing too much in Tesla. If anything, it's just gone to the upside. And there's really nothing on here, right? So I'm not seeing, there's NVIDIA. Okay, so it just got jacked up to the top there. Not moving too much, but a nice little 50-cent move down on NVIDIA. Apple with a sell. So that was quite a nice trade yesterday. Apple, so that was a nice move there. Coming back in, down 1%, trying to go. Google with a sell, Goog with a buy. So that might be a mixed opportunity there. Lucid is 250 now. Okay, it was 240 yesterday. All right, so not much else, man. It doesn't look like there's any those IPOs on here either.
Well, because yeah, we have it on the board to talk about crypto. So I'm glad you mentioned it because I didn't remember to go over one name that was on the note, and it's Mara at 12 again because the last 2 days. I mean, it's easy to see here. Just underneath the 12 level has been resistance for a couple of days in a row. So let it travel into, or at least close to $12 and put on the short. That's also that prior low, which it's continuing to hold underneath. So as long as Bitcoin isn't breaking out over 85,000, I mean, it could be, it could be there, but as long as it's not screaming above that level and trending higher and all that stuff, then I want to still look short on Mara in front of 12. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to get myself an order out there so I'm ready, because at the open, sneaky suspicion that the two stocks that we'll be looking at the most are Tesla and if CoreWeave ever settles down at 56 right now. So Tesla,
that was a great break.
I don't know if we'll actually get this at VWAP, but look, Tesla can move $3 or $4
damn, shorty.
Easy. So it could pop into VWAP quick, and then you're right back into this 360 in a few minutes in here. So it's going to be, I expect there to be crazy action off the open. I know people are looking at that Newsmax still. Pulled back underneath VWAP, looking weak once again. So the squeeze IPO names are going down, which is your WTF and your NMAX, but you've got CoreWeave, the real one, headed to the upside. So that's continuing to go. VWAP is no longer at 52. It's now all the way at 53.5. So I guess it'll be like first available dip. Yeah, it's going to be a wild one today. I mean, it's hard to pick what will happen at 4 o'clock, but right now the market is leading in anticipation. Sometimes you get that early rally off the open. I think that's where I'm looking to short.
Yeah, my bet is actually stuff comes out like way earlier. Like something's going to get leaked, and they might even just tell us what's good at any time.
I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, ears to the ground here for sure, all day. You know, like all someone has to do is get their hands on whatever this, you know, I guess what he has to sign them all into. I don't even know how it's going to go. Like
they're executive orders, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess so. So
pretty sure they're executive.
I guess so. So he's going to be signing all those, and I guess one after another. There we'll find out which countries are affected, which goods, and how they plan on dealing with it, which we already know. they're going to be there, and we'll see some other countries, come up with some reciprocal ones as well. 2 minutes to go here. CoreWeave, there's that 54 break, man. We talked about that. That was such cash. And there it goes, and now up to 56.50. So congratulations anybody that took that. CoreWeave definitely on my radar as well. Tesla, we're about to get short, so get ready. Right off the open, I will be short, it looks like anyways. Looks like it's going to break that 255. It could break it right now. And again, even if we're in it, it's just going to be one unit. I'm just going to be in it basically for the roller coaster potential crack lower there. If we can sort of make that one whoosh down and we want to be in it. Now we may even miss. I'm only crossing down 25 cents. And that might miss right off the open because right now just the open market spread is 40 cents. So we'll have to wait to see if that happens. And then, yeah, as Neil mentioned, up to VWAP would be great, 260 and change. The name's down today on a number. So I treat all those when there's a gap. You play that back to Mr. VWAP. And then here it's going to break, so we should be able to get short. You'll see me in a second on the bottom. I just wanted, there we go. We are now in, so we didn't get that much of a slippage, did we? We're at 86s, so a good little level there. It's just bouncing off of it. Just quickly, Palantir, if it does get anywhere near yesterday's close, fine by me. But for right now, that is also down 3%. Okay, well, we're short Tesla. We'll go to 254 like 01 here. We'll put out 10% to see if we can get a fill for $1, as it might get lower right now. We're waiting out for 250 flat. We'll see if it can hold that. It looks like it's going to work so far, but the market's about to be open. So good luck to everybody.
Yeah, good luck, everybody. It is Tariff Day, Liberation Day, whatever you want to call it. It is also sponsored by Work Sport, WKSP on the NASDAQ. Shout out to them. But this Hump Day, this Tariff Day, this Liberation Day, Tesla Delivery Day, it's going to be a wild one in Adara. Let's ring that bell. Brought to you by Work Sport in 3, 2, and 1. Let's go.
All right. There it is. So we are really starting to crack a little bit lower, man. Instantly $1 in the money there. We took some out as it's still $1. Just went down. It was a little bit of a wipe down there on Tesla. It went to 253. It looks like 252.98. So we get our 01s. That's where we were bidding. Now it's okay. Hopefully it gets a little bit lower there as we wait to see what's going on with Tesla. Let it settle down, man. We only got out at 10%, a little bit more than that actually. As we said, I think it was 12% at the lows there. So we'll wait to see. Again, not a huge play. We're going to see if we can get a 250 fill. My next bid is 250, 250, and then 250 flat. So there it is, man. Nice little dollar to start the day. Good trade there. At least we talked about that one. We did miss out on CoreWeave.
58.
Yeah, CoreWeave was a play that we should have had on board, but was a little bit too early to take that. There it is, man. There's $3 now. Screw you, CoreWeave. Who cares? There goes Tesla right now. Nice little trade there. 2 and change in the money.
Great trade on Tesla. CoreWeave now just hit $58, as you mentioned. A prior high is now VWAP at 54. So this little double top in here because we're going to look for a little bit of a bid. You're already starting to see it pull back. It just pulled back $2 in a couple of seconds here. So I think it comes into this level pretty quickly. Remember, this is still like a failed break of the high. So you want it to settle down off the volume weighted average price. That's the one I'm watching right now because Tesla is not giving any kind of a bounce as it just head to the downside. I'm going to cancel that order. Once you break the low, not looking for that VWAP play as valid, at least in the short term. So it's just going to be CoreWeave on this dip. And Intel, we didn't grab Intel. Oh, it looks like we missed by a couple pennies on Intel there. Had my orders going into 22. Looks like I got to 21.94.
WTF.
Just cancel those because obviously we missed them by a couple cents.
CGNT.
Yeah, we did get that 250, 250 there. So good trade there. As a good thing you brought up that CoreWeave because that is coming back in just a little bit. Look at the market, baby. Starting to get back up to the upside right now. So a nice little trade there for everybody on the market if you went long. I'm going to put out another piece right there on Tesla. We just got 250, 297 there. So far 54.01s, 52.50 as we said, and 52.97 right there. Waiting for a bump up into 58 to see if we can reload it. But as Neil mentioned there, no real move higher except for right now. So if you are looking to go short Tesla, Merry Christmas, you just got $2 on the buck there. And if you wanted to put it, we're already in it early, and this is definitely on purpose, man. We knew that we were going to be staring at this, looking at it, so we'll wait to see what ends up happening right now. What's going on with Bitcoin? It's kind of just hovering, so
not doing anything.
Yeah, not doing anything. Well, yeah, I mean, almost broke 48, but yeah, not doing something. Okay. All right. Here we go.
DBLT.
Let's get this down. 250 flat is where we're bidding right now, and we'll see if we can get that. So come back in right now for Tesla. Now, 1, 2,
ONDS.
$3 right there, the only trade that we have on board. Like we said, we're just trying to make a little bit here because we didn't take too many
NCNO.
shares. So we'll have to wait for that.
RDFN.
CoreWeave does make that move all the way down and all the way up
HEPA.
again. So nice move down to 53,
CNTM.
going into the 50
TCRT.
period moving average. Now trying to
QSG.
hold VWAP at 55.
SYTA
CoreWeave
halted.
right now 56.
XYZTF will resume at
And
9 hours,
GIS.
37 minutes, and 41
Yeah, and the
seconds.
market's bouncing pretty nicely here, so I
RCAT.
expect if you're looking to short pops,
IBG.
you're probably going to start to get them
SPOT.
a little bit.
TTEC.
AMD did not look. We already talked about 22 on
WOF.
Intel for the short. AMD nowhere near 103. Prior high is sitting at
RDFN.
101.60. So if it comes in and does
CORZW.
another wick like this, then we might get into that over Intel. CoreWeave is going to break out the high. That was a silly
CRWB.
wick. Right, you have to remember it's
HEPA.
not as liquid as you think
QSG.
on CoreWeave.
NBIS.
So when it dipped into 54, it spent no time there. It was right back at 55 half within a matter of seconds. So
CRWB.
I think you have to sit
RKT.
on the bid and get swept up
RCAT.
out in front of your level
XYZ.
instead, or just take clean
BB.
breakouts on CoreWeave because this
HUT.
one is absolutely squeezing. Maybe
CLSK.
we can still get something in the
RGTI.
55 range, but that one's absolutely running. We just got Intel, but I
CNTM.
want to have something on board if CoreWeave comes back in here. Whoops, they just put $5.55.
JYD may resume in less than a minute. TCRT.
All right, so we're gonna start. We're gonna
HEPA.
start the trade now on the
NBIS.
futures. We wrote down
QSG.
57.50. I think we'll just respect
LFEH
that
may
level.
resume in less
If
than
we
a
break
minute.
above 57.50, then we're gonna get out. So let's just put this stop right now. 57. If we come
CLSK.
over here, Fabian, that'd be.
BB.
We can just show this quickly.
NCNO.
57.50. That is that pre-market high.
TELO.
We're gonna get more at the
CGNT.
200 period. That's where we want it. There's 57.50.
RCAT.
We could be wrong, no problem on this one because it's an early trade. So we'll wait. We got to get some more short though. 57.25 is where we're looking right now to sort of put on a spot
HEPA.
and see if we get run over. Basically, at the end of the day, we're
YOSH may
willing to
resume in
go.
less
So
than a
we'll
minute.
wait to see if we can get anything at this level.
ALAB.
Looking for 57 1/4, not getting into too early
BB.
right now. That would be our
CNTM.
bigger.